We are your home theater and AV questions answered. This is AVRant. Want your home theater or AV question answered by Tom and Rob? Send it to question@avrant.com. Welcome to AVRant. I'm Tom Andry, and I'm here with
Rob H.
Casey. Casey has Polk CS10s plus a Monitor 30 center as his front three speakers. Now, is that Polk? Monitor is still Polk, right?
Yeah, it's still Polk. These are all Polk.
Yeah. That's what I thought. But I always think of Monitor. I thought maybe somebody left off the audio.
Oh, like
part.
Monitor audio? No,
Yeah,
no. These that's the series from within Polk's.
Yes, he is considering the EMP Tech E5BI bookshelf speakers or other speakers that cost about the same. Would they be a noticeable upgrade over his Polks?
I say yes.
I would think as well. I haven't heard the CS line or the I thought Impact line. I think from no, it's not Impact.
No, it wouldn't be that.
What
I mean, they
was
have
the
their
one?
RTI series.
I've
they
heard
have
those.
They have their LSI series up at the top.
I've heard those as well.
But these both, the Monitor series and the CS series, they're both lower in the lineup.
Yeah.
These are among their least expensive.
I would guess that you would hear an improvement. I would notice that. I would guess that you would hear an upgrade. I would also guess that you would email us back and say, "Man, there's a lot less bass in these speakers than I heard in the other ones." I mean, that would be a guess from never hearing these speakers.
But it would be more detail in the treble because the Polks roll off pretty heavily.
And that's a design choice.
noticeable.
I mean, when you're at this price point, you have to make some design choices. And while the EMP Techs have plenty of bass, they tend to focus more on linearity. They also roll off a little bit in the highs. I mean, just a little bit because they, I mean, it's a function of how much money they can put into their drivers. But they are. I think that in overall sound quality, you will notice an improvement. So, via Twitter, Rob suggested the Ascend Acoustics. Oh my God, everybody! Oh, Rob, Ascend Acoustics. It's a Christmas miracle. It's a Thanksgiving miracle.
I think the tweeters in those Ascend Acoustics SE series are a cut above, so I like them a lot.
Anyways, Rob suggested the Ascend Acoustics SE series. The CBM 170 SE costs $50 more than the HTM 200 SE, but the CBM 170 SE have free shipping, while the whatever ones don't. They cost $24. So really difference in price, only $26. So as such, is one of those models clearly better than the other? Mr. Ascend, tell us.
So honestly, they are way closer than you might even expect. One of them is using a single 6.5-inch driver. The other one is using dual 4.5-inch drivers. The HTM 200 SE is a sealed design that's only about 6 inches deep from front to back. The CBM 170 is your traditional two-way bookshelf with a port on the back of it. So really, it's more about form factor than it is about outright performance.
And room placement and where you're going to put them and what
because
you want.
they sound way more similar than different. The CBM 170 SEs can play ever so slightly louder. We're talking like 2 decibels, just in sheer maximum output. So there is a very slight difference there. But in terms of like just the overall sound quality and it's splitting hairs. So really it's about the form factor. And given that they are so close in price, then pick the one that just physically fits best wherever you're going to put it. There's no reason to avoid one or the other.
Yeah, unlike what we were talking about before, some speaker manufacturers line to line or subwoofer manufacturer line to line, they'll make significant improvements. And it's usually just a price point thing. But in this case, this is just more of a, hey, they're very close in price. You want this one if you want it for this application. You want this one if you want it for this other application. If you're looking for something that looks this way versus the other way, then you know which one to buy. He asks, will any or all of these speaker choices work well using an 80 hertz crossover? Yes.
All of them will work fine. The HTM 200 SEs, being the sealed design, have the least bass extension, but they still play flat down to 70 hertz and continue to roll off below that. Absolutely fine to cross them at 80. The other two, absolutely fine. They play flat down to about 60, both of them. So you are no problems crossing them at 80 for any of them.
He's planning to put all 3 front speakers behind an acoustically transparent screen, so looks aren't super important, just good performance. Does that make any particular model the most obvious choice? These, not really. I think with the question, if I'm reading between the lines here, is, am I paying a lot for the finish on the EMP techs?
Oh, I see.
And I don't think that you are. I still, for the life of me, I cannot figure out how they charge as little as they do for those speakers. I've said it before in this podcast. I will continue to say it. They should charge at least 50% more than they're charging for these. On looks alone, they would sell, I think, just as many. I do. Yep. And I think I would still recommend them just as highly at 1.5 times the price. I think I would, because I think
still makes it very easy to recommend them right now, though, because they're inexpensive and gorgeous.
I know. So, think of it this way. Future-proofing. There's future-proofing going on here. If you decide to take them out from behind that acoustically transparent screen, you decide to get some more expensive speakers and put them back there, and you're like, now I've got these ugly black boxes that I bought, and I don't want to put them anywhere. Now you can put them in your office afterwards. Something like that.
The only thing I would say, I don't know if he's already planned out exactly how deep his false wall is going to be.
Yeah.
But if you haven't, if that's still in the planning stages, then the HTM200 SEs, being that sealed design and being that they're only about 6 inches deep, would allow you to build a shallower false wall and have more distance within your room. If that's something you desire, they have that characteristic about their design. But if you've already built the false wall and you have room for any of these, then it makes really no difference.
And the EMP texts are reported, if I remember correctly.
They're reported as well. That's right.
He's planning to put all I said that. I didn't scroll down far enough. Okay. Casey wants a 7.2.4 Atmos and DTS X setup. What are the current receiver models that we recommend that can do that at the lowest price points?
Mm-hmm. So
I'm guessing without buying amps is what he's suggesting, because it's
No, because the coming up next, he asks about amps. So he just wants to know what can do an 11 speaker
channels,
setup.
Right.
Yeah.
So there's going to be Marantz, there's going to be Denon, and
there would be Yamaha as
well. There's a Yamaha as well.
There are Pioneer models that do it as well.
Let's not talk about those.
I know.
Okay, I'm sorry. It's not that I don't like it. It is that I don't like Pioneer, but it's not that I don't like the brand, therefore I would refuse. I don't like their offerings, and I don't like their feature sets.
Their setup options.
And I don't like the fact that when you set up your Dolby Atmos, you have a choice of this or that, and you may not want either of those two things. I still don't like the fact that you can't just randomly choose what speakers you're going to have. I think you should be able to have, top middles and top fronts right next. I think you should be able to have that. Why not? You could have a very tall room.
Even Denon and Marantz don't allow that.
I know, that's what I'm saying.
I think it's weird that Pioneer always has 3 models that are at different price points that have no feature differences. It's really strange. But anyway, that aside, you're basically looking at Marantz and Denon. If you go right now to Accessories for Less, you'll actually discover that they're pretty much all sold out. That doesn't mean there won't ever be stock, but it's... At the moment that we're recording this, they're all sold out. So I went over to Amazon. Now, the Marantz SR7010, that's a model from last year, that's available for $1,200. There's the Denon X6200W, that's also from last year. That's at $1,300 right now. Then there are the new models that came out for this year, the Marantz SR6011, that's at $1,400. And the Denon X4300H is at $1,500. So we've gone up $100 on each one of these. Now, the difference from last year to this year is the models from last year don't have HEOS built in.
Right.
Which is Denon and Marantz's whole house audio system. They don't have that built in, and they will not be able to use the forthcoming Odyssey app, which is going to be a $30 app that you can buy for your smartphone, which lets you manually change the target curve. Those are the 2 features that the models from last year are missing. Now, the SR6011 from Marantz, that doesn't have HEOS either. Mm-hmm. So the only thing you're getting on that one is the access to the Odyssey app. The X4300H from Denon does have both HEOS and access to the app. So really those are sort of the feature differences. Of course, the Marantz models have 7.1 analog inputs if you want them, because that's like the Marantz thing. The Denons do not. And then, of course, there are the more expensive models. There is the X6300H, and the SR7011, but both of those are up at $2,200 right now. So
do they have 11 amps inside though?
The X6300H has 11 amps built in. The Marantz SR7011 does not. It still has 9, just like all of these other ones that I mentioned. Right. So honestly, the SR7010 at $1,200, as long as you don't need HEOS built in, That's the best deal right now, and of course, continue to check accessories for less to see if they get stock. They will, of course, eventually get stock of the SR6011 and X4300H, being the new models. They'll eventually get stock of those. The other ones, I don't know. They might be gone. They might just be sold.
I
at this
would,
point.
if it were me, I would wait for accessories for less. I'd be checking them every morning. Noon. I'd probably just be hitting refresh every couple of minutes.
Yeah, because they've definitely had the 6011 for $9.99. They've already had it.
Yeah,
before.
and for me, that's just worth waiting. Yeah,
Sure.
That's just worth waiting. Since you will probably need at least 2 channels of external amplification, what amplifier would we recommend? He's sitting 9 feet 6 inches away from the speakers. I really think doesn't matter.
Well, it could, because if he was sitting 20 feet away, you might need more power.
I suppose.
Right?
So
what that tells me is you don't need a ton of wattage.
That
You're
is
sitting
true.
pretty darn close, and you're going to have normal efficiency speakers because he's either going to be getting the EMP Techs or the Ascend Acoustics. So you don't need a ton of wattage. We know that.
Right. So we've got Emotiva is always an option. Monoprice has got their new Monolith stuff that's out there.
If you want to go nuts, I mean, that's way. He doesn't need 200 watts per channel sustained.
Honestly, I don't. I think what you need to buy, honestly, I think you need to buy a small amp. Like, I don't even think you need to go the Emotiva route. To be honest with you, I mean, you could.
Sure. Like their base X series is affordable and very good. Nice low noise floor. So,
and I would use. Chances are, I would probably end up using these things just for the Atmos channels. If he's going at 7 point, yeah, I mean, I think that you could get away with something really, really small that way and save your, because none of the speakers you're recommending needs to have external amplification. None of the speakers he's looking at needs to have this or will sound any different because of it. Therefore, why not use it on the speakers that are overhead?
It's just often you'll offload your front speakers because they tend to use the most power. And
I know, but I don't think that's going to make one iota of audible difference.
Audible difference, I agree, yeah.
So something small like those little. Didn't you used to always recommend something from Dayton Audio, something small?
Well, yeah, over at Parts Express. I mean, it's slim in terms of like height. It's like not even one rack unit tall. So yeah, they have their APA100, the Dayton Audio APA100 from Parts Express. It's under $100. It's a 2-channel.
That's the baby.
2-channel amp, but it's completely adequate for what you need to do here. So yeah, that would work fine. The other thing is, I will say, I mean, I have a Marantz SR7010, so I know this from experience. I have 11 speakers. It has 9 amplifiers built in, so of course you could physically connect 9 speakers to just the receiver if you wanted to. I will say, when you do that, the noise floor does go up a little bit.
Yeah, but you're sitting ridiculously close to your
I am sitting
speakers.
ridiculous, and I have exceedingly sensitive tweeters, ribbon tweeters. So if there's any hiss, I will hear it. But I it's just a fact. The noise floor goes up a little bit once you connect more than 7 speakers to it. So if you were to say get the Emotiva A500, their BasX A500, and power your 5 main speakers using that, and then power the remaining 6 speakers off of the Marantz, you'll have an exceedingly low noise floor all the way around. If that's affordable and you want to do it, I'll just throw it out there.
All right, good, whatever. Want your question answered? Send it to question@avrant.com. This is AVRant.
Now go out and listen to something.